Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Just Bleed Radio. Today is Sunday, September 29th, 2024, and this is the Weekend Roundup.
Just bleed, just bleed radio. Whoa, just bleed radio.
Hey, USA in this hole, baby. Yeah, let me hear it. Hey, I know y'all didn't think the Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude. I know y'all did not think the Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude. That ain't never gonna happen, baby.
Bonjour, my beret-wearing, baguette-wielding brethren. It would seem you have caught me red-handed with La Resistance. Please, do not send me to the guillotine. I can only help to impress you with my performance. What's the good word, you big bad bleeders? Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Weekend Roundup, the home of casual content for combat connoisseurs, brought to you every week by the gang here at JBR. Today's show, we'll be delving into some of the results of last night's fight night, St. Denis versus Moicano, and hitting you with our classic card rating for the event as a whole. Before we get going, do everyone a solid and hit the like button and drop a comment. The funniest French pun gets a smelly brick of cheese mailed to an ex-girlfriend of their choosing. Speaking of stinky blocks of cheese with lots of ex-girlfriends, let's introduce my fellow cretins here at Chateau Scumbag. A dog, a cat, and a Dave. All three of them could use a bath, but only one is already washed. Our production team, Chatri, Steven, and Super Dave. A pest controller with no problem punching the clock or punching back a few sudsy 16-ouncers. We call him the cleaner because he's known to make dead bodies disappear. It's no special, aka Austin. And an upstanding Englishman who grows more and more weary of the modern world on a daily basis, but he still keeps showing up for all you bloody listeners. He may be slim, but I've never known him to be shady. It's Marshall Mousers, aka Danger Mouse.
Bonsoir, monsieur, mesdames.
Oh, shit. All right. So, Danger Mouse, how's your weekend been, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Enjoyable enough, I guess. I had some friends around, so I actually missed the start of the card. So I had to catch back up with that this morning. But yeah, an okay day. Not too bad. Nothing too exciting, I'm afraid. Can't claim any great victories over the week.
You mean to tell me that the hosts of Just Bleed Radio actually have friends? What?
Yeah. Not very many, but I have friends.
All right, Austin, how about you? Usual fun festivities over the weekend?
Yeah, I got home on Friday. Me and the wife didn't have the kids this weekend, but they were pretty much around in and out, because they have lives. And they we were just doing our thing this weekend, but we watched some movies, watched some TV shows, and I cleaned up the backyard, watched fights on Saturday morning, pretty much like from 9 a.m. Like, it was great. Got to enjoy some breakfast and a coffee with fights. That's like the best. You can't complain, except for some of the fight results, which we'll get to, because I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts.
We'll definitely get to that. Yeah. Coffee and combat, you can never go wrong with that, though.
No.
Great way to start the day. The best part of waking up. All right, well, put the wine and cheese away for now, because we're skipping the hors d'oeuvres and we're heading straight for the main course. The men on the marquee, Bitcoin sensation, and habitually confused nationalist Hanato Money Moicano took on the Parisian Special Forces Staff Infection Sergeant Benoit Oh Oui Oui Saint Denis in a lightweight matchup. Moicano last competed at UFC 300 when he got the W over Jalen Turner, and Saint Denis obviously making his return after getting starched by Poirier in one of the more memorable knockouts of the year. Some folks took issue with this bout headlining over the scrap in the co-main, but that proved to be an unwarranted concern because Moicano virtually had his way with BSD all throughout the first, controlling and bludgeoning the man senseless. In the second, Money would take his foot off the gas a little, but the damage had already been done. Doctor steps in at the beginning of the third, administers the vision test, and that's it. Referee Mark Goddard calls it.
Mark Goddard waves it off.
Second round TKO, doctor stoppage for the Money Man. This would be Saint Denis' second stoppage loss in a row and Moicano's second consecutive TKO victory. The only two of his career, believe it or not. That's pretty interesting. Danger Mouse, let's kick it over to you first. Thoughts on the fight itself, and then give us your take on Money Moicano's callouts of Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker.
Okay. The fight itself, we were expecting a war. I think that's what we all really, really wanted. Well, we kind of got a war, but it only lasted one round, really. That's the unfortunate thing. We had Michael Bisping said it afterwards, I think, at the start of the second round. I was like, that could be a 10-7. And when you look at it, it kind of could have been because obviously Moicano, Saint Denis came forward at the start of the first round. They were trying to get some striking going. Saint Denis threw a kick. Moicano, he made a bit of a hash of it. Moicano grabbed it. They went to the ground. Then it was pretty much Moicano on top, landing elbows whenever he could. He got the body triangle hooked up, smashing Saint Denis to pieces all the time. I think he had something like 4 minutes 30 or 4 minutes 40 of ground control time in the entire round. So Saint Denis was on his feet for 25 seconds maybe. And then he, like I say, he smashed him to pieces. If that isn't a 10-7, I don't kind of know what is. And the other thing to take into consideration with that is that I know there was some fighting in the second round, but Saint Denis actually was scored to win the second round. Moicano didn't really do very much. He hit him with a couple of jabs and all the rest of it. But in terms of how much the damage increased in that round, I would suggest that Saint Denis could probably have just jogged in squares around the cage for that 5 minutes, and his eyes would have blown up to the same extent. So the damage was done at the end of round one. You could have stopped the fight there, and no one would have complained. I don't think, apart from the French crowd, they obviously would have wanted to tear Moicano apart. Although they did seem to quite like him when he called out the French president, and I can't remember exactly what I said, but I know I was cheering along with him on that one. Yeah, screw that globalist president, premier, whatever the fuck he's called. Screw Macron. And yeah, it was not the fight I wanted to see. I did want BSD to win. I can't help now wondering if that jump forward to take Poirier was a bit of a too fast jump forward. I think it was suggested at the time, and I can't remember, we might have suggested it as well. So maybe he was just rushed into it a bit and he needed to be seasoned up a bit. I forget which commentator it was that said it, a pre-fight video. Might have been Guru, might have been Bisping. But they were saying that Moicano has like 9 years of MMA experience. And Moicano, Saint Denis has, I think, 4 or 5. So Renato has those 4 to 5 years of experience over him, and that just showed in that fight. He didn't mess about. He dealt with the job. All credit to him. Most amusing, speech at the end of it, but he's always that kind of way. Seemed to win over the French crowd a bit back to himself. It's hard to tell because obviously I don't understand what they're chanting at any particular time. So yeah, like I said, not the fight I wanted, but I can't complain at the result. There was no arguments about it. Yeah, onwards and upwards. I guess and the call outs. Pimblett, I think that's a match that Paddy might not want actually. Looking at how Moicano dealt with Saint Denis, because I really thought Saint Denis would be more of a problem in the wrestling, and he just wasn't. He rolled him over in no time. So tough fight if Paddy takes it. Dan Hooker, I think that would be a very bad matchup for him. He hasn't done that well against the kind of lethal grapplers. And if Moicano comes out as he did against BSD, then I think it'd be very, very bad night for Dan Hooker. Maybe a short one, but a bad one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, apparently Patty on social media did agree, in words to the matchup with Moicano. He said, let's do this thing, which
Yeah,
I agree that if you're someone in his camp, I might be saying, pump the brakes a little bit on that one, maybe. And then the Hooker fight, they're both of the similar vein because Moicano said himself he wants an easy fight next. He's calling for the easy fights. He said he just beat a tough guy, a good athlete. He doesn't want a tough one next. Like he wants a nice easy fight to get some money. And I don't know if Patty or Hooker is necessarily an easy fight, but I could see why he thinks he has that path to victory. So yeah, either one of those could be interesting. But to move it along, Austin, no special. Give us your take on the main event fight, and then answer me this: should BSD take a fight outside of the rankings for his next matchup?
I'll answer your question first. Should he take a fight outside of the rankings? He's not going to have a choice. he was given two opportunities, right? A jump up in competition with Dustin Poirier, in which was an appropriate matchmaking from a contender status. Dustin was coming off of a knockout loss to Justin Gaethje, who was on that at that point after beating Dustin on a 3-fight win streak and looking to contend for the title. Dustin didn't want to fight anybody within like the parameters of, he wanted fun fights, big names, and guys that were available weren't available. And Dustin was coming off of a knockout loss. He needed to defend his spot. That was appropriate matchmaking. He lost that fight. BSD did. He's got a limited skill set, and I think that was the thing with these last two fights, was that he rushes in, and sometimes he's just not 100% rounded in his grappling aspect. He's got pretty decent like aggression and physicality, and he's got a specific, was it a mouse, you might not know, is he it feels like he's more of like a judo technician, if I'm not mistaken,
I
with
think so. Yeah.
with his grappling. So he's got good ways to kind of counter lesser guys, to put them on their ass or keep position. He doesn't have any follow through on, grappling aspects, and his striking is rudimentary at best. Moicano only has more experience because he's faced more of the top guys in both lightweight and featherweight. He's got that experience, like you were saying earlier, Mouse. But the thing that kind of throws me off is like he did not develop the right amount of skill sets to allow himself to fight. He was fighting, but that's just because it was sheer will. 3 different points you could have stopped that fight in the first round. The thing that kind of puts me in a weird position was that like Moicano's not that great either.
I'm just interrupting you while you're laughing there. BSD is a black belt in judo, has been since 2019.
Okay, so I was okay. That's it. Thank you. I wasn't sure.
I did my James.
Okay. BSD can't take a step too far back, because if he loses again, he's back at needing to get a 5-fight win streak just to get back into a top 5 opponent. If he loses again, he needs to take someone at the very end of the rankings, possibly Patty. I would say that's a thing you can do, because what is Patty ranked right now?
I'm just looking.
15th.
Patty is 15, yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. If he takes a fight outside of the rankings and he loses his rankings and spot. That's the way that should work. 3-fight losing streak and progressively lesser opponents. Yeah, especially if he takes a fight outside, he can't afford to do that. Not in this sense. If he was to take a fight outside the top 15, say Jalen Turner, for instance, and he beats him, that just preserves his spot. But he's still in that spot where if he loses, he's out. He can't
Yeah.
afford to take a step out. He's got to stay inside. As far as the fight is concerned, BSD did almost like an ice skating rink situation with Moicano. They kind of spun around very quickly and in synchronization, and I thought that was hilarious. Um, and Moicano just played the better grappling aspect. He stayed, maintained position. He did so well that he tore or broke his, what was it? His not his
Yeah,
the bone that goes across the back. Was it a collarbone?
yeah, I'm not. It
Or
was a
I
bone in the
forget.
shoulder or a joint in the shoulder. Yeah, I'm gonna be bringing that up in a second here. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and finish.
That he did so well at beating the shit out of BSD that he nearly destroyed his own shoulder, which is why he didn't throw anything with his right hand in the second round. And Moicano was just like throwing the jab. That's it. Just throwing the jab with the left hand. That's it. And then thank God the doctor stopped it because he wasn't going to actually fight past that round if BSD was somehow capable of going past that round. They were fucked either way. So that's amazing. As far as the callouts for Moicano, he's delusional if he thinks that Dan Hooker's going to accept that fight, and I think Dan Hooker is a bad matchup for Moicano. Because he's not the best striker, and Dan Hooker's at least capable on the ground. If he can handle Gamrot, he can handle Moicano.
That's a fair point.
That's for sure. Yeah, of course, Patty is going to agree to that fight because he's a more physical grappler. If he is a lesser striker, he'll gas after the first round, and Moicano will eventually give him a harder fight. But he can't take that now because he's got a fucking broken back shoulder.
All right, well, I got to move this thing along for the sake of time. But just a couple little talking points for me before we do get to the next topic. Like you mentioned, Austin, the shoulder, I can't remember exactly what the terminology was for what is broken there, but apparently that injury was pre-existing coming in. It was already there, but then he aggravated it further and fully broke it. People can look online and see the images. I'm not sure if Dave will slide them in or not, but yeah, news and x-rays coming to light after the fight that show that he had what looks to be a completely broken shoulder in this matchup, and crazy fucking toughness and grit to compete in that state and at that level. The impact and the underutilized nature of elbows in MMA, guys, especially in ground and pound, how quickly they can cause cuts and damage and swelling. Like, they alter a fight faster almost than anything. I don't know why people don't use more elbows in ground and pound. So shout out Moicano for utilizing those there. And then also I would say Moicano up there for one of the biggest career turnarounds ever. Dave kind of mentioned this on Discord, and I was thinking the same thing and agreeing with it. He went from virtual like obscurity to stardom more or less with this money shtick that he has going on and his ability to captivate an audience with his words and all this in a second language. So kudos to him on that. And then to circle back to the Pimlet thing, I think that having Pimlet and Moicano as the coaches for a new season of Tough could have just enough gasoline and fire to reignite the series. We might have to discuss some ideas on how to further that idea in the coming weeks. So look for that possibly down the line. A little bit of tough discussion. That's a teaser. Okay, all right. We're going to move this along. The Paris party does not stop, however, because we're jumping straight from the main into the co-main. Brendan, dude, where's my raccoon hat, Alan, and French-Russian salad dressing Nasruddin Imavov had themselves a little middleweight scrap with potential title implications. Alan riding high coming into this one as the uncrowned champion of post-PFL casino fights. And Imavov, of course, just recently beat the quartz crystals out of Jared Cannonier like they were sonic rings. Bit of a style clash in this one, some may say, with Alan being a rather accomplished submission artist and Imavov a known striking threat. However, both men still on the right side of 30 years of age. Growing and evolving, hotly contested matchup, as I previously said, with all-in Allen packing up his purple trunks to take on the sniper Nasruddin in his home country of France. We didn't discuss this one at all leading up to it. So first off, guys, who did you have winning this one coming in? And then what are your thoughts on the results themselves? Austin, you can go first.
Yes, feeling quite, particularly like BC today. um, um, so as far as the fight, um, I I had thought Nasruddin was going to do enough to win. I was kind of nervous looking at how the fight first started with Allen taking the center with grappling and Nasruddin just looking kind of like a fish out of water for a second. And then Nasruddin managed to kind of take the fight back. Allen gassed and took actually more grappling towards Allen, which was kind of a role reversal. But um, I thought the right guy won. I thought the right guy won. If you were to ask Allen, he would have probably told you he was fucked 3 ways to Sunday. With with the debacle at the after the weigh-ins being held there, I guess he said that there was a unfairly more testing and blood drawing that he had to take care of, as well as giving a piss test after the weigh-ins. So that's
Just so everyone knows, France has the most corrupt way of dealing with fighters ever in the whole world. Had fucking over 40 fights, fought outside the country, in the country, different states, that state, made weight, no problem. Then they're gonna tell me that I have to give blood or urine. First they said urine, I gotta give urine. Right off the scale. So dehydrated, waited 3 hours, finally have to pee. Then they tell me I gotta get blood on top of that. I do the urine. They say they're gonna do blood. They do blood. They don't get enough. They try to tell me they need more. I said, you're not gonna stick me again. No main top guy of France had to do this shit. So just me and Moicano had to do this. The two most important fights on the card, and the two Frenchmen didn't get to have anything. They just get to go to their room, sleep, chill, eat, do everything they want to do. Fuck this place. This place is fucking.
who's to say if he was unfairly taken advantage or given an unfair treatment. Secondly, he thought that they should have been the main event, and realistically, he was actually pretty pissed about it. I can't blame him, but this is just the way it is. Be happier the co-main, and you're getting at least some kind of exposure, because most people only remember you because you happen to win a lot at the Apex, which is great. It's not a problem. It's not a bad thing, but hey, this was his moment. Unfortunately, he came up short, and it wasn't a bad performance, but it wasn't his best. And as far as the fight itself, he probably thought he got robbed. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He probably looks at it as if, like, dude, I got screwed. They took away my ability to promote myself. They took away my ability to get a proper hydration after the weigh-ins, and I lose the fight in a close competitive fight. Yeah, he's probably not happy. As far as if you're Nasruddin, this is a godsend, because if you lost, you're going right back down to the bottom of the top 15, and he could not afford that. Allen can bounce back; he'll be fine. Nasruddin definitely needed this home win for sure. Fight played out ideally, pretty interesting. Not that barn burner for sure, but I thought the right guy won.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty fairly entertaining fight. It had some fun moments, but a bit surprising on the Allen end, his performance, and you could possibly attribute that to the ongoings that happened beforehand, but I'll get into that in a moment. All right, Mouse, what about you? Who did you see winning this beforehand, and what are your thoughts on how it played out?
I picked Imavov. As people know, probably know, I do tend to follow quite a lot of Guru's picks. And he actually called this one bang on right. He said that Imavov would lose round 1, and then he would come back, take round 2 and round 3, which was exactly what he did. So congrats to the Guru on that one. Great pick there. Less so on his female fight picks, but we probably won't talk about those. But yeah, Guru, you suck at picking female fighters. There. So yeah, the fight itself, I remember this was at the kind of the end of the night. It was getting towards, I don't know, 11 o'clock-ish or something. And because these rarely fights for me, I decided that I'd hit the alcohol a little bit early, and some other smoke may have come my way. So I was pretty blitzed by that point, and I kind of was. I was falling asleep watching this fight. I just kept waking up with, like, every now and again the crowd would cheer. I'd wake up. So I kind of caught the last 30 seconds. I was like, oh, the last 30 seconds were good. But on the whole, I think I commented in the Discord, I went, woohoo, he won. Anyways, that Jeremy Clarkson meme. Oh no, anyways, that kind of thing. That was the feeling I had for winning that one. And what did you pose another question there, Lazy? Sorry.
No, just more so like who you thought was going to win coming in, and then afterwards.
Yeah, like I said, I picked him Evolve. I think I was going to pick him anyway, and then the Guru steered me that way. So yeah,
So you basically had this one bang on from the jump.
I did. Yeah.
Well, I did not. I picked Alan in this one.
Yeah. Well, we know you're a fan of the hat, man. So.
Oh fuck! God damn it! He fucked up the streak. Son of a bitch.
The Hats were undefeated until recently. Thank you, Brendan Allen.
Son of a bitch. Oh well, yeah, that's one more strike against him in my book. Yeah, I definitely didn't see this one playing out this way. I thought that Allen would. Man, he'd been looking so good in his recent fights. Like, yeah, he gets touched up a bit on the feet, but I thought he was going to get in on the body lock. Get some trips, something. Get him up against the cage, clinch him, find a way to get him to the ground, take the back, choke him out. Like you're Brennan Allen. It's what you fucking do. Didn't fucking happen. A world exists where this could have been the outcome, obviously, but something just felt off with Allen here. Like you mentioned, Austin, that I'm sure everybody by now has heard the controversy coming into this fight. Allen saying that the French Athletic Commission held him and several other non-French athletes hostage, quote unquote, for hours after the weigh-ins to gather additional blood and urine samples, which, of course, greatly interrupted their rest and rehydration period afterwards. And being that it was only for a handful of fighters, you can kind of argue that they might have been unfairly providing an advantage to their hometown fellas and ladies, I suppose. I'm not sure who all was held behind. I know Allen and Moicano both claimed they were. Didn't seem to affect Moicano very much, but something was definitely off with Allen. So whether that had an outcome on the fight or not, I'm not so sure. And then Allen, who was talking shit coming into this, saying that he was going to get a title shot, now suffers a pretty sizable setback on his path to the gold, likely several fights away before he even comes close to having a chance of sniffing a title again. So that sucks for him. And then last thing I'll say, I'm not the biggest Imavov fan, but he certainly remains a threat and a name at the top of the middleweight division. It'll be interesting to see how he's matched up next, because the division is a bit gridlocked at the top for the time being. So, I mean,
I think he wants Strickland again, doesn't he? Didn't he call him out?
Yeah, but Strickland ain't taking that fight. We know he wants to.
Not at all, no.
He wants to hang around for that title shot, and then you got Izzy, who's coming off of a pretty terrible.
That one might be good for him, just because hey, you'd rather be active, and that's a former champion. Yes, he's coming off of 2 losses in a row, but it's not like he was terrible in his last fight.
I've seen some people calling Caio Borralho.
No,
he's right behind him.
Yeah.
I think you got to consider what Izzy wants for his last couple of fights, and he's not going to take that kind of fight.
Yeah.
Well, Caio's the best of both, though. Kyle's a more dangerous opponent, and they're both on the come up. If either one of them loses, they still have. That means that they haven't fought the top of their division as of yet. Cannonier being the highest that either of them have fought. That's not. They can't afford to lose to a contender, because then they can't reclaim their spots by the definition of the top 5. So they haven't faced any of those guys yet. Losing to one of those guys secures them a little bit, and however they lose to that dude, if you lose to a contender, that drops your spot a lot further back, I think.
Yeah, for Nasruddin, he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I don't see Strickland taking the fight. I don't really see Izzy taking it. Whitaker's booked up, so everyone ahead of him is likely not going to face him. He's just beat Cannonier, and now our guy that we were just discussing, Brennan Allen. So he's probably gonna end up fighting backwards, more or less. He's probably gonna end up having to fight somebody behind him.
Yeah, I would say so.
Coming off 2 pretty big wins, that sort of sucks to have to fight somebody behind you in the rankings.
Maybe Marvin test his chin.
Yeah, he did. Marvin was tweeting, so it's possible. All right, we'll continue to move things along. Let's get into what remains because that was the main dishes, gentlemen. Any individual fights outside of those two that you guys would like to highlight? Austin, we'll kick it over to you first. Any fight from last night that you wanted to put a spotlight on?
Um, begrudgingly, Brian Battle. I don't get me wrong. I don't think he is an evil or terrible human being. He's just an asshole, and like any good asshole, you just want to cheer against him. Like I thought, what was funny is that someone kind of reminded me, oh, that's just fighting, man. You got to give him credit. I was like, no, I don't have to. No, because look at this asshole. He's literally going after the French crowd, which was like, all right, fine, you got to be the heel, fine, whatever, dude. He's I will not lose to a Frenchman in a fist fight. Fuck you, dude. Look, this reminded me of Wonder Boy versus Matt Brown. Stephen Thompson was coming in looking like hot shit, just knocking people out when even finishing Robert Whitaker at welterweight, right? And nobody really had an idea of how to beat him until you got into his face. And sure enough, just put him on the back foot. Matt Brown did not give him any inch elbows for days and put the fear of God in him. I believe that is what happened with this fight. Mouse, how did it's a Jusei? Is that how you say it?
I believe
Jusei. So Jusei literally kind of got in his own head, looked like he had an adrenaline dump, and then forgot how to defend strikes. He clipped him a couple of times. He was like, Brian's keeping his chin up, coming in like a fucking welterweight Forrest Griffin with his goofy ass fucking face, and then just long strikes, looking to the body occasionally, but just putting the work on him. And it was frustrating to see because I know Jussier is a much better fighter than what I saw, but no one had ever put pressure on him like that before. And if they did, it wasn't nearly to the extent that we saw. That fight is an excellent example of, hey, it doesn't matter how good you are. Someone's always going to find a weakness and push you and beat the shit out of you at some point. You got to figure out how to push through or adjust your game plan. Because he didn't adjust his fight at all. He just kept doing the same thing. Once he kept getting hit, he'd circle outside, continue to get hit. He'd cringe up a little bit, put his guard up as he was getting hit. He would try to throw and get clipped as he was throwing. Like, the worst performance you could have thought of for this fight. GCA pretty much dropped the ball, and Battle took the ball, hit him in the face with it, and then walked home with it.
So we can safely say that Jusei is not battle proven.
Oh.
No, he's not. Unfortunately, yeah, it's a good one. God damn it! But no, that fight was just an interesting contrast to all right, you don't know until you know,
and knowing is half the battle.
And now we know Brian Battle's that dude that you don't want to take, any risk with. You gotta assume he's capable, and he's a guy to keep watch on for sure. As much as I dislike the man.
Yeah, you could say that Jusei was battle tested but not battle proven. No. All right. Danger Mouse, how about you? Do you have a particular tussle last night that tickled your fancy like a French tickler?
Not like a French tickler, I don't think, but there were a few decent fights on there. There was the Morgan Charrier versus Gabriel Miranda. That was a sweet left-hand knockout. There was the Fares Ziam defeating Matt Frivola by knockout. I think it was a knee strike late in the third round or halfway through the third round, wherever it was. That was absolutely brutal because that one left Frivola out cold for a long time. You had time to see the guy, Ziam walking around the cage celebrating, and Frivola was still out unconscious because we were joking in the Discord that Frivola now has a Saint Denis curse, because whenever he fights on a card with Saint Denis, he gets knocked out. And it's going to be
Yeah.
probably pretty difficult to disprove that one, because the chance of them fighting on the same card together seems pretty low, I guess. Unless they fight each other, that might be a good one. 2 losers against each other. I guess he's already beaten him though, so yeah, that don't make too much sense. And yeah, the first fight of the night with Chris Duncan, who I didn't pick, that was hilarious. I don't know whether you're going to talk about that one or not, Laser.
Yeah, I got a little something on there.
Okay, I'll leave that one alone then. So yeah, I guess kind of Faraz Ziam kind of impressed me most. Handled the fight very maturely, didn't rush, took his time. His grappling was good, his striking was on point. I think he had a fairly decent reach advantage, and he utilised it pretty well. And then obviously that knee just came out of nowhere and just sent Frivola to the land of wind and ghosts.
Yes.
That was awesome. That was, I mean, KO of the night without a shadow of a doubt. Even though the Charrier KO was great too, I think it's hard to discount that one as the KO.
Yeah, I would agree.
Really quick.
Yeah.
Two things. The Morgan Charrier fight, Larry, he's gonna hate this fight. He was the only one to pick against Morgan Charrier on that one. he looked at it as a joke. He's like, "Oh, this is fun," and then realized, "Oh shit." So shout out to Larry for that one. Also, Eileen Perez. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I was just gonna go.
Yeah, she's getting brought up too. Yeah. So yeah, let me just get into these. I got a little brief rundown of some other moments of the night. Like you mentioned, Dej Rounds. First up, Chris Duncan submitting Balaji Oki with a quote ghost guillotine per Michael Bisping. I liked that term because if you watched it, it was the most perplexing thing. Never seen nothing like that before. Yeah, it was very bizarre. Choked him out, and then it just seemed like he kind of eased back by body weight, and I don't know if Duncan let him out or if his head just popped out, but yeah, he was unconscious on top of him. So
tapped him a couple of times in the temple, and then turned to the ref and went, "He's unconscious."
Very fucking bizarre.
That
so that was strange, yeah. But a good win for Chris Duncan there. Good, nice to see him getting the win column. He in the post-fight speech, speaking about his mother who passed away. It was a very emotional speech and hit me right in the feels. Me and Daz both. So yeah, shout out to Chris Duncan for that.
I watched that at about 5 o'clock this morning. So,
and then next, Beres, I believe is how they were saying it, defeating Altamirano.
Bareth.
Oh yeah, Beres. Yeah, that's right. Despite a badly broken nose from a spinning back fist, that was a fucking crazy moment. Seemed a bit just like almost a Hail Mary. He just threw that spinning back fist out there, and similar to the spinning back kick of Max during the Gagey fight, clipped his nose just right. And boy, that was a pretty nasty fucking break, but all credit to Bareth for coming through and getting the win there. And then next, yeah, like Austin was mentioning, Eileen Perez, who missed weight and then submitted Zalesniakova, followed by a stinky floppy twerk in her face. I don't know if it's going to get left in, but I don't think our editor Dave's going to be the only one with pink eye after that.
It was worth it.
It was a nice moment and a nice win, but in my opinion, yeah, a little bit bullshit.
I thought it was pretty classless, to be honest. Although I did hear that Daria had said something about the twerking thing.
I don't mind so much.
She's Argentinian. I'm going to hate on her a little bit. So.
I don't mind so much the dance in the face afterwards, but don't do it after you missed weight, especially when it seems to have come to light that she might have missed weight intentionally, which is a little bit even worse. So I don't know.
0.5.
At least she didn't get a bonus.
No, but it's 0.5. It's not like she missed by 4 pounds, This is a little bit forgivable. Little bit. Yeah. I'll give her that.
And shout out to Tracy Cortez, who clapped back and said that she can make up that 20% purse cancellation by her OnlyFans. So yeah, there's that.
She's not wrong.
And then Yon Cutelaba, who ended up being slightly less shitty than his shitty opponent. Fuck that guy. Screwed me over on the picks. I don't even remember the guy's name. Fuck that guy.
Ivan Erslan. Ivan Erslan.
Yeah. I was calling him the Croatian guy, and he just didn't pay off for me.
Yeah, that was another guru pick for me. So.
Yeah, that was a shit.
Yeah,
fest.
no one could be mad about that one because Guion's so wishy-washy on being consistent and being just a complete trash fighter.
Yeah. That was my entire lean going into that fight. Is Jan Cutelaba is shit. I think this guy will be slightly less shit. That was wrong.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. And then like you mentioned, also Danger Mouse, Ferris Zium, man, with probably the grossest standing knee I've ever seen on Matt Frivola. You might have seen better or more devastating flying knees, but as far as just a standing knee, good fucking god, like that looked like a movie scene. The way he pulled, like I don't know if he pulled the head down or Matt just like, but his head goes up and then his head goes down and right into that fucking knee. Absolutely vicious. Afterwards, the way he was laying there, like feel bad for Favola. He's a good guy. Comes from a good camp, good family. He's a dong.
Apparently, he has a habit of ducking away when he's coming out of a confrontation. That's how Saint-Denis caught him with the toe of his foot because he was circling away. He was trying to run away.
That was,
that's
this
time.
Yeah. Well, what do you say to Matt? Do you think it's time for him? He's only 11-6 now, with I think a 1 no contest or draw, but like he doesn't have a ridiculous career. I don't know. I felt something off about his performance. I think if I'm Ray, I might have to have that conversation with him. Just based on how this one played out.
Like at very least, like I think if you want to continue going forward, it might be time for a step down. Like go maybe to like an LFA or a regional like that. Like because that record isn't exactly. That's not a UFC quality record, and you're coming off 2 violent knockouts in a row. Like, if you want to continue on, I don't think you need to continue on at this caliber.
Yeah, I mean, PFL's lightweight division isn't too shabby, but or the Bellator situation with their lightweights, I wouldn't. It might be a good call to have a whatever conversation it is with the UFC to see, hey, how many do I actually have, and then possibly look for an exit strategy on that, and then enter for the PFL. I don't know. But,
it's tough. It's tough because, like I was saying, he is a good guy, and he's surrounded by some good people, and he's a new dad. He just had, I think, his first child, and it is you want the best for a guy like that, but tough. It's a tough game they're in, and that kind of knockout, that's a career alterer. That's a life changer right there, and one for the highlight reels, but he's forever going to be on the wrong end of that highlight, and don't like that. Let's move along though. Brian Battle, my man. Austin might not have liked it, but I fucking loved it. Went full
How dare you,
heel.
sir? How dare you, sir?
I picked him, so I loved it too.
I like the Butcher. I like Pooh Bear. He went full heel and he embraced the hate. And I think that was a necessary evil last night. I think it was something he had to do. He was getting booed either way. That French crowd wasn't going to support him and cheer him. You might as well fucking egg him on, make a moment, certainly went viral. I liked it. I think it was pretty cool. The double birds, the classic Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. I liked it. Shout out to the Butcher.
His name is Pooh Bear. He's literally he gave himself the Butcher name. You don't give yourself the fucking Butcher name, especially when you already have a name. That's a heel. He's an asshole just for that.
Yeah, you got to reinvent yourself in this game to stay relevant. It's part of the.
He did. He moved to welterweight.
Well, I just want to say also that I remember for a long time, all his fights were taking place in the Apex. The guy fought like 5 fights in a row after his UFC debut in the Apex. So good to see him out in front of a crowd and finally making a name for himself because he's got talent, man. The guy is talented. That was a fun finish. And then the last thing I want to mention, the Gomi home cooking robbery, maybe over Joe Anderson Brito. You had some people like Luke Thomas saying that it was a perfectly understandable win for Gomi. Then you had a lot of other people, especially in the fandom, saying it was a total travesty and robbery and that Burrito should have taken it. I'm kind of on the fence. It could have gone either way, but I was rooting for Burrito, so I'm a bit biased. I don't know about you guys.
Everyone was rooting for Brito. Not a single person picked Gomez. Not even Austin dared to pick Gomez.
I I didn't hate the Gomes win. I didn't pick him, no, but Brito allows himself to get in these kind of fights. That's on him. Like what, he's wrestling
Fair.
a 6 foot dude. What do you like? You can't give him moments because he'll walk away with as the bigger dude. He he was losing some of the striking exchanges and he wanted to wrestle more because that's his bread and butter. He allows himself to get into these type of fights. Don't be mad when it gets scored against you because you allow that kind of fight. If you're not completely 100% dominating, if you're 50-50 on the grappling exchanges, someone might think the other guy's winning. That's just how that rolls, you know.
Never
Yep,
leave
that's
it in the hands of the judges.
yeah. It's the cliche for a reason because it's fucking true. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't bitch too much when you give them the opportunity to fuck you over, especially with their hometown guy.
Yeah.
That is what it is. Again, shout out Super Dave because I believe he said that the night wouldn't be complete without a robbery. So
That's true.
there it was. Oh, and then one last thing I gotta again shit on Luke Thomas for. Uh, Rewatched a bit of his live stream, and he was saying that that round one for Moicano was a possible 10-8. Bro, come on. Possible 10-8? That was a possible, probable 10-7. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a guy that wants
Um
the refs to be a little bit more involved in the fight, he needs to allow the judges to be a little bit more lenient with
Well,
their scoring.
all three judges scored it 10-8, so
Yeah, come
at
on
least
now.
the judges
a
knew what
10-7's yeah, a 10-7's possible. But I think it's like the conversation of like, well, if an arguable stoppage is in there, I think, well, an arguable stoppage was in there, right? It's
Yeah.
almost three different times you could have said, "Oh yeah, there's a stoppage." Oh, okay, there, okay. You should probably stop it there. Oh, he's bleeding very bad. You should probably stop it here.
When they showed his eye between rounds, like it looked when it was closed, it looked like he had three different eyes on one eyelid. There's like the regular slit and then the two other slits. It was oh god. Disgusting. Disgusting. All right, all right. With that, sorry for that. With that, all we're left with is our card rating for UFC Fight Night City of Lights. So I'll go first just to get it out of the way. I guess for myself, things didn't go, exactly the way I thought they would, not according to my picks, but still a fairly fun night. A handful of good finishes. Obviously, one potential KO of the year contender with that fucking monstrous knee. Rest in peace, Matt Vervola. Well, Paris crowd always drives it up, though. Some, in my opinion, that crowd is electric all the time, singing their anthem, going nuts. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't over the moon, but I did have a good time. So I'll go a little bit above average, and I'll give this card a 6.5. So, Mouse Man, how did you rate this Paris card overall?
Okay. Well, I didn't go scientific on this one. I'm saving that just for numbered events. It's too much work to do it for a fight night. Yeah. Larry asked us how excited we were for this card, and I said out of 10, I said 5.5, which was about how excited I was for it because I only really cared about the main event. Actually, after watching it, I watched some of the prelims back this morning. They were pretty good. The main card itself could have been better. And I'm coming down on the same as you. We're totally in agreement for once. Lazy 6.5.
Hey, how about that? It seems a reasonable score, I think. All right, no special. We're just waiting for your opinion now, sir. How did you think that this Saint Denis and Moicano card played out? What do you give it?
I think I had said the same to Larry. I think I ended up with a 7. You guys had kind of pushed me to kind of be a little bit more optimist of the group now with this with the scoring. I initially I think I said 7, and I think a 6.5 would have been accurate. I think a 7 usually because of the crowd work helps a lot in these type of fight nights. Even if the main event and co-main event and some of the fights that you watch don't exactly go according to how you saw them.
The
Play out
co-main
prior.
just took the life out of it for me. That was a problem.
I mean that's fair. I mean it wasn't the most exciting fight, but it was a ranked fight. You were looking at something that was going to be more meaningful. But either way, I thought the excitement was there. There was a definite interest in a lot of the fights, and 7 seems appropriate for me. Although I do still dislike Brian Battle.
That's not bad though. That's pretty good rating overall.
The one to be excited for is next week. That's what
Yes.
I'm looking forward to.
Indeed.
Is it next week?
It is next week, yeah.
Yes.
We'll be back
Okay.
for that one.
Already.
I did hear someone else following your kind of line of experience there, Austin, saying that Khalil could be a really, really tough opponent for Poatan, which no argument.
Glory killer. Glory
Yeah,
killer.
Glory
Glory,
killer,
just
yeah.
saying.
Well, I'm just going to say, way back when last year we did, or earlier this year, we did a draft, and when we were picking the light heavyweights, I'd picked Poatan first, and I ended up with getting my fight with Yuri, the second fight, and that was the fight I picked on the draft. So I've had that, and then the fight that you stole from me, Austin, was Khalil versus Poatan, and guess what? Uncle Denis has done that one for me as well next week. So yeah.
If Danger didn't screw me over, this wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah, my draft card.
How dare you, sir?
Pretty fucking good.
How dare you, sir? We got to redo that draft too. Like the way we're gonna, I think the way we should do it next time is
try and
we
get
should change
fights.
the criteria. Yeah.
Try and get
Plausible.
fights that are going to happen.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
still exciting. Still exciting on the exciting meter.
yeah, I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a fun night.
Yeah.
Enjoyable.
See, lazy. We told you we'd get Khalil and Poatan to do the podcast.
You managed to sneak them in there anyway, you bastards. No, we got a couple of minutes to kill, so I don't think anyone else has anything from this card.
I could make an off-color comment that Nora Connell does never need to change her name if she ever becomes a porn star.
What was her deal? She thought she won the fight. I don't understand how you could look at her performance and thought she won.
No,
Yeah.
Guru thought she won it. That was one of the fights I ignores from his because, as I said, he always picks wrong on female fights.
How? She literally was watching the fight get taken away from her. Strikes to the face and then just terrible cardio riding the fence. That's the worst way to win a fight. And she's literally eating, like, what was it? 1 to 10 strikes every minute? Like, what are we doing here?
I hate that when fighters clearly know. You clearly know that you didn't win the fight, and then you act surprised when they fucking raise your opponent's hand. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
It did go split decision, but yeah, I had it for Cavalcante.
There's no fucking way that was a split decision. Get the fuck out of here. That's not home cooking.
We could mention one final thing for this card: the awards and bonuses for the night. Performance of the night bonuses went to Brian Battle, Morgan Charrier.
Again.
Morgan Charrier, Ferris Ziem, of course, Brutal, and then Chris Duncan. So 4 performance of the night bonuses.
Yeah. No.
So those are all finishes.
Yep.
Those are all finishes.
Yeah.
Can we see a reality where the UFC no longer just does performance bonuses and does finish bonuses? Because Duncan is a submission finish, and they don't usually reward submissions as of late. Yeah. I would prefer it if they just gave 50,000 to guys who finished their fights.
I think that would be reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we suggest
as long as it's not. I know, but finish is not including the doctor stopping it. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's got to be a policy that you employ. Like if you're incurring the damage, great. If the ref stops it, it's fine. But it's got to be a ref stoppage or a knockout or a finish. Like that's got to be the idea. Like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
doctor can't stop it.
speaking of finishes, and I guess it could be the one thing we mentioned from outside of the UFC for the weekend. Not the biggest fan, so I'm not super familiar with him, but Stevie Ray of Bellator PFL fame apparently called it a career over the weekend, but he did so after securing his second twister submission of his career. So, yeah, two twisters in one go. What a run there for old Stevie Ray.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, great fighter. Never heard of him.
Mm-mm. I'm more familiar with the guitarist. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well.
I think we've done just about enough here. So let me one more time. Oh, my little croissants. My empty glass of cognac signifies the end of another edition of the Weekend Roundup. Paris is always fun, but the streets do smell like piss and cigarettes. So I'm happy to leave. Don't forget to smash and like the subscribe on your way out. And everyone, please join us back here next week for the bi-monthly return of Poetan Alex Pereira and UFC 307. So until next time, say goodbye to the people, my friends. Au revoir, mes chéris.
Au revoir, you bleeders.
I'm not familiar with French, but later, dogs.
Just go to the Italian way and go ciao, because that counts for anything. Hello, goodbye.
Ciao. See, I can put on an Italian accent, but I don't even think that's appropriate for this. The Italians, I don't think would appreciate that.
That's my favourite one from when they used to they used to use in the war to detect German spies in the UK, and they used to ask them to pronounce squirrel. I can't believe I'm saying this. Miss you, Craig.
You say I only hear what I want to.
We are rising!
Yeah. Get out of here, Austin. Scram.
Get out of here.
Scram.
Could you hear that?